Hey there, thanks for joining me on this episode of Tropical Weather Impact. I'm meteorologist Peyton Malone. October the 7th, it's a Tuesday in the tropics. Well, it's October and they're still busy. We're tracking monitoring two areas in the Atlantic Basin, and we've got two named storms out in the Pacific. Hurricane Priscilla is sitting just south of Cabo this morning. And notice what grabs your attention right over Central America is a large area of showers and storms. Let's start with that. We'll talk about Invest 95 and why it's on the cusp of getting a name. This one is currently sitting over the Yucatan. Now, it's part of a larger system of showers and storms over Central America. When we get in October, we get this setup called the Central American Gyre, which is essentially a large area of disturbed weather over Central America that rotates. And within it, you get these blobs of storms, and that's what can sometimes become tropical systems. In this case, we've got this blob of storms sitting just north of Belize and over the Yucatan. That's going to be traveling into the southern Gulf, the Bay of Campeche here, in the next couple of days. This will travel over the warm waters. This part of the basin is notorious for quick spin-up systems, and so that's why they're going to monitor this as it eventually moves towards the inland areas there of Mexico again. And so as we watch this in our high-resolution models, we can see that there's a chance this tries to organize. You get a quick little spin-up system, and then it moves inland there by tomorrow and into Thursday. So this doesn't have a whole lot of time to ramp up, but things can ramp up quickly in this part of the basin, and water temperatures are very, very warm down here. This will be a big flood risk for us areas, especially in the mountains there, as we go through the middle and end of this week. So that's what's happening with that feature. Let's talk about Invest 95. This one's the one that's probably going to get a name fairly soon. If this system organizes faster, it could steal the next name, but the next two names are Jerry and Karen, so we'll see what holds. But this Invest 95 is gaining some latitude, which is good because the faster it gains latitude, it has a higher chance of missing the Caribbean islands. We're talking about Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Looking at it this morning, it is very organized. I think the Hurricane Center is going to pull the trigger on this one at some point, whether it's a depression or probably just a storm. We will have a track on this at some point, probably today or tomorrow, as it moves northwest. Let's take a look at our tropical models here. You can see that they're all agreeing that this is going to curve out to sea at the end of the day and not be anywhere near the United States. But if you're down here in the islands, notice here we are Thursday morning. Very well could have a storm right in here, getting a little too close for comfort to the islands. I think this could send some squalls. This could send also some big waves to the islands. And I just got an update in the middle of this forecast that the Hurricane Center is going to initiate advisories on this feature in that 10 a.m. update. And so that means they're going to call this Tropical Storm Jerry. So this will be Tropical Storm Jerry traveling northwest and then out to sea, and there's a real chance this becomes a hurricane. So the timing again for the islands, we'll be watching Jerry move closer and closer by Thursday and Friday, but just as it gets close, we start to see that turn to the north. That's the good news about this time of year. Anytime something is forming this far out in October, it is so difficult for it to get close to the United States. Anything that gets close to the United States this time of year is usually grown in the Caribbean or the Gulf or right off the East Coast. And so that's the good trends we're seeing right now with, again, this is going to be Tropical Storm Jerry forming out in the Atlantic. So Jerry is going to be checked off here as a tropical storm this morning. Next name on the list is Karen. So if that little Gulf feature tries to become a storm, it could get the name Karen, but Jerry is going to be out in the Atlantic as from what we're seeing right now. Now, when you look at this hurricane season, it's been really interesting because for a while it completely went silent. And we've had some impressive storms this season. We've had a lot of little ones that haven't amounted to much of anything, but you had Aaron, a Cat 5 back in August. Remember, we went through the majority of September, about 2-3 weeks with not much, and then, well, here we go. We got Gabrielle, which was a Cat 4, and then following right behind it was Umberto, a Category 5 again. We've had 2 Cat 5s this season. That's rare. And then we've had Hurricane Imelda, and now after that we will check off. We'll probably have Tropical Storm Jerry become a hurricane as well. Just a reminder, whenever you look at the climatology or the history of hurricane season, we are still in October, which is oftentimes a busy month. We've traveled down the highest point of the season, which coincidentally was the most dead part of this season. We are sitting here. Notice October often does have still plenty of activity. Whenever you look at October and you look at August, mid-August can be just as, or mid-October can be just as active as mid-August in some seasons, and we've seen that the past few years. And so we still have to make it through My rule of thumb is like October 20th. After that, we're usually fine here in the New Orleans area. But we have had some seasons, the busier ones, where Zeta moved through 2 days before Halloween. So you just hold your breath really until the end of October here on the northern Gulf. November, we're usually fine in New Orleans and the Texas coastline. We're doing fine there. And so we're feeling okay at this point. If we can keep getting these fronts moving down, we will be done with hurricane season soon in New Orleans. But again, those areas out towards the Caribbean islands, the East Coast specifically, you got to stay on alert there for a little bit longer. That's going to do it for your tropical weather impact as of this Tuesday morning, October the 7th. Tropical Storm Jerry is now on the calendar and hopefully going to miss the islands and head out to sea. We will see you right back here tomorrow with the latest on Jerry.